Hi everyone, thanks a lot for taking a moment to join us. This is an unscheduled upload, but this is a vlog extra I want you to see. We'll get into that in just a moment. Oh, I just want to remind you though that tomorrow will be our regularly scheduled Coffee with Conti episode. In that episode, I stumbled across some information that very well may be pertinent to C8. Nobody's talked about it. It's small information. It's factual. It's no guessing. Enough of that going on out there. We're going to share that with you tomorrow on our Coffee with Conti episode. Also, too, just real quick, I want to share with you some 2018 YouTube stats from this little YouTube channel. You guys are awesome, man. I can't wait to share that. Also, too, when you're ordering a Corvette or you're buying a car off the lot, and you've got to factor in the spouse factor. You've got to factor in automatic versus 7-speed. We'll share with you how Matt handled that debate. It's a lot of fun. And then the main part of tomorrow's episode is going to be sharing with you not only a visit, but a delivery with Paul from Washington State. Now for today, our vlog extra is a tribute video that the National Corvette Museum did for Jim Perkins. We had a moment of silence for Jim last weekend, but I just love hearing these guys talk about Jim and truly what a great guy and an enthusiast and how passionate he was for Corvette. For the younger audience that's watching right now, you may not know who Jim is. If you own one of these cars, you may want to own one of these cars, you just like Corvette, you got to thank Jim Perkins for that. And you got to thank the guys that followed in his steps, that took the ball and ran down the field and kept this thing going. We certainly owe him a lot. Thank you, Jim.
If you were to do a Hollywood movie, yeah, you know, and you want to talk about some guy from West Texas that made good and was an absolute character, it was Jim Perkins.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the Vice President and General Manager of Chevrolet Motor Division, Mr. Jim Perkins.
I tell you, there's no two ways about it. A million of anything is a bunch, but a million beautiful Corvettes is just something to behold. When you think about it, nobody else has ever done it. No one else has ever built a sports car that endured that long. Give yourself a hand. It's amazing.
In 1992, we almost went out of business. And I had the Corvette studio, and there were people in the leadership of the company that really didn't champion the car, didn't understand it. And the Corvette was in jeopardy of disappearing off the face of the earth. And to me, that was like unthinkable.
Back in that time frame, in the 80s and early 90s, the Corvette was considered a non-essential product in the GM's in the Chevrolet stable. The thought that the Corvette, you know, would not be just in the stable, but the stud horse, you know, the main character, the secretariat, you know, is so remote. I mean, how could it be otherwise? Jim Perkins, who was then the general manager at Chevrolet, you know, took money from a marketing fund and paid for some demonstration vehicles to actually be built, and got in a lot of hot water for it, but saved the program.
So we went to Jim Perkins, who pulled us out of the fire many times and saved the program. It was always helpful and always supportive of what he could do and his group could do to make the car a success. So we told Jim that we need to have a C5 serve vehicle, Chevrolet Research engineering vehicle. And he agreed, and he agreed to pay for it.
Jim was a big product man. I mean, he really was. He pushed his strength to get the product he thought he needed. So Lloyd called him up one day and said, Jim, we're not going to give you the Corvette. We don't have money for it. So Jim says, in essence, if you don't trust a general manager to determine what products he needs, then I'm leaving the company. He actually told him that. And Royce called him back about 3 days later and said, Jim, you got your car.
Thank God for guys like that weren't going to let Corvette go by the wayside. And I remember we got approved to do the 5th generation Corvette with Chevrolet and Jim Perkins behind it.
He is one of the most wholesome people I've ever worked for in my life. I'd walk through fire for that guy. I mean, he's that kind of inspiration.
There are a lot of people that, you know, that I say probably give me too much credit, because it didn't take one guy, it took a lot of people to do it. But the reality is that you look back in your life on a career, especially like with GM or Lexus or anything else, I don't get the same feeling about a Lexus, knowing that, you know, because that wasn't where I started and not where I ended. It was a point in my life that I got to do something that was very unique. But I started with Chevrolet and really ended with Chevrolet with the manufacturer. But I see that Corvette and know the struggle I think that we went through to do it, and it just gives me a huge amount of personal satisfaction, I guess, to know that I was at least a part of it.